Hello guys, welcome back to my channel. Today we are going to be talking about the 1981 movie The Evil Dead. It was directed by Sam Raimi and produced by Robert Tapert. The movie follows a group of friends who go to a cabin in the woods and unwittingly unleash evil forces that possess them one by one. The Evil Dead is known for its low budget, practical effects, and its status as a cult classic. The movie has influenced countless horror films since its release and is regarded as a landmark in the horror genre. We will explore the themes, production, and the impact of The Evil Dead. The cast of The Evil Dead are Ash, who is played by Bruce Campbell, his sister Cheryl, who is played by Ellen Sandweiss, Ash's girlfriend Linda, played by Betsy Baker, their friend Scotty, who is played by Richard DeManicore, and Scotty's girlfriend Shelley, who is played by Teresa Telly. The opening scene sets the tone for the movie. We see the group in their car, making their way to the cabin. As the group reaches their destination, the cabin is in a desolate and remote area. Its old, unmaintained structure sets a foreboding and creepy atmosphere. A swinging bench on the cabin's porch mysteriously swings from side to side, even though the air is completely still, with no wind or gusts in the air. The thumping sound it makes as it hits the wall of the cabin creates an uneasy and creepy feeling throughout. Scott approaches the door cautiously while looking over to the creepy bench, wondering why the bench is slamming against the wall for no apparent reason. The group is on edge while Scott searches for the key to the cabin. What's even more creepy is that the moment Scott finds the key, the bench went completely still. It's as if it was possessed by an unseen force. As the night progresses, a trapdoor in the floor suddenly flips open, and the group decides to investigate the trapdoor. This is where they discover an audio tape that contains recordings of an archaeologist who had recently excavated a Sumerian temple. The archaeologist had translated an ancient text found in the temple, which warned of demonic forces that could possess the living if they were released. Along with the tape recorder, they also found a book bound in human flesh and written in blood, their Necronomicon Ex Mortis, a knife that appeared to have been used in ritualistic killings, and a shotgun. The group decides to play what's on the tape recorder and unknowingly unleash an evil force that begins to possess them one by one. One of the most dramatic sequences of the movie was the possession of Cheryl. As Cheryl was getting ready for bed, she heard a noise outside. She went outside to investigate to try and find the source of the noise. However, unbeknownst to her, the demonic forces was what lured her outside. She soon realized that the force was alive. Spooked, she ran back towards the cabin, but not until the forest got a hold of her, strapped her down, and raped her. Yeah, pretty wild. Seemingly freaked out when she escaped and made it back to the cabin, Ash was forced to drive her back into town. However, the demonic forces had destroyed the bridge that came in on, forcing them to retreat back to the cabin, seemingly cutting them off from ever escaping. The Evil Dead is a movie that explores the theme of possession. The characters in the movie become vessels for the evil force that has been unleashed. They become mere shells of themselves, controlled by the demon that has taken over their bodies. The possession is portrayed as violent and grotesque, with the characters contorting their bodies in unnatural ways and spewing blood and vomit. Another theme explored in The Evil Dead is the concept of isolation. The characters are trapped in a remote cabin, surrounded by woods and cut off from the outside world. This isolation amplifies the terror they experience, as they have no one to turn to for help. The cabin itself is also a character in the movie, with its creaking floors and ominous shadows adding to the atmosphere of dread. The production of The Evil Dead was notoriously low, with the filmmakers having to rely on practical effects and DIY solutions to create the movie's horror. The makeup and effects were created by Tom Sullivan, who used everyday materials such as oatmeal and pancake batter to create the iconic blood and gore in the movie. The infamous tree rape scene was accomplished by having a female crew member in a tree costume simulate the assault on the actress. The Evil Dead is notable for launching the careers of directors Sam Raimi and actor Bruce Campbell. Raimi went on to direct the Spider-Man trilogy and produce television shows such as Xena, Warrior Princess, while Campbell has become a cult icon in his own right, starring in numerous horror films and television shows. The movie's portrayal of possession is a stark contrast to the more traditional depictions of possession in horror films. Rather than portraying possession as a spiritual or religious phenomenon, The Evil Dead portrays it as a physical and violent force. This emphasis on physical horror helped to set the movie apart from other horror films of the time and has contributed to its enduring popularity. Despite its low budget, The Evil Dead has become a cult classic and has had a significant impact on the horror genre. The movie's use of practical effects and its emphasis on visceral horror has influenced countless horror movies since its release. The movie has also spawned two sequels, Evil Dead 2 and Evil Dead 3: Army of Darkness. However, there appears to be a debate amongst fans about Part 1 and 2, due to the fact that Evil Dead 2 feels like its own movie where it actually kicked off its sequel, Army of Darkness. This could be attributed to the fact that in Part 2, Ash and his girlfriend are driving to the same cabin, with Ash having no recollection or clue about the events that took place in Part 1, or the tape recorder and the Necronomicon that was found in Part 1. And to me, I feel like Part 2 is a remake of Part 1, where it sets off the Evil Dead universe, leading into Army of Darkness. There is also a comic book series and a television show, Ash vs. Evil Dead. And in 2013, another version of the Evil Dead came out, which is the modern take on this popular franchise. Some liked it, some thought it was okay. I, for one, loved this version as well, and I would have loved to see a sequel come about from this release. The horror elements, gore, and possession in the 2013 release was top-notch due to the advancement of technology as well as an increase in budget. Also releasing this year on April 21st is Evil Dead Rise. The trailers that I'm seeing so far are great. I'll definitely be checking it out when it releases in theaters. In conclusion, The Evil Dead is a horror movie that has had a lasting impact on the genre. Its effective use of practical effects, humor, and themes of possession and isolation have made it a classic of the horror genre. The movie's low budget and DIY production have only added to its cult status, and its influence can be seen in countless horror movies that have followed in its wake. The Evil Dead is a testament to the creativity and resourcefulness of the filmmakers, and its enduring popularity is a testament to the power of effective horror storytelling. Well, that is all for now, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content like this.